Just up on Mount Royal again. Another lunchtime. Just getting some tree time in to, resettle my head a bit, I guess. This is a VR for Backpack Jack. She's reached 100 subscribers, to which I say that's fabulous news. Way to go. I definitely remember, when I got my first subscriber thinking, holy cow, someone's actually listening. And as more and more subscribers, I mean, I don't have that much more than you, Jack. So don't take this as, sage words from an old hand at YouTube or anything, but, it really feels good to get a new subscriber, no matter how many you have already. So, Jack's question, or her VR, is to come up with one thing that really ups my enjoyment, or ups the enjoyment of bush time. So I've been thinking about it. I've got a couple of things, but I think she just wants one, so I'm gonna try to narrow it down. Because some of the things are, I always like to keep a little bit of pemmican in my bag or something for when I get munchy. Obviously it doesn't have to be a pemmican. I mean, you can, just always keep a snack in your bag, but, that doesn't really seem like that big a secret, that's just kind of common sense. So I've been doing some thinking, and here are my thoughts. I think of all the things I've thought about since I watched Jack's video last night. Might have been early this morning, but I think the biggest thing I could think of, well, there are two things. One is, a lot of guys are saying, if you want to be in the forest playing with axes, you got to have a good pair of leather boots. I go the other way. I like synthetics. I like boots that breathe. Because if I get sweaty feet, I get to feeling bitchy about it, So, I like things like, I used to really be into Keen, but now I'm sort of developing an interest in Merrell. I just find that they last a little longer. I'll blow through a pair of Keens in under a year. Like, they'll be scrapping up, anyone who's seen my Instagram page might remember from a couple of months back, I made the switch to Merrells. And I haven't looked back since. Sorry about that. I'm being kind of dive bombed here. But my big thing is you gotta have a good backpack. And I mean, Backpack Jack probably knows this, but it really is the biggest thing I can think of. I've had a lot of rucksacks now, and some have been crap and some have been good, and it's amazing how much better a day in the forest is when, I don't have like a field of sweat on my back, and it's not a whole lot of weight on my shoulders, So something good with, with good weight distribution that fits well. Sometimes you really got to spend for that, and sometimes you don't. And I've been thinking about backpacks a lot because I still haven't replaced my that ILBE that I gave that crappy review to a few months ago, I do really hope to get something better one day. I've gone to using, in my hunting setup, I think it's an X2 by Iberlistock, which is a great bag, but it's great for packing out a quarter of a deer, but it's not so great for, sticking in like a wool blanket and my little IKEA stove and some food, and, it's even kind of sub day pack sized. So it's not a good long-term solution at all. And I mean, you guys saw the review I did of this one, right? It's a really cool bag. What I kind of hadn't thought of back then, though, because now it's like today it's 24 degrees. I know, another Canadian talking about the weather. I know, but there's a reason for it this time. It's 24 degrees out, and there's not a lot of airflow for a hot day with nothing but a t-shirt on, so it gets just a little sweaty. Also, there's no, as I said, there's no waist belt on it, so if I've got it really packed up, I prefer to have the weight sitting on my hips, you know? Like, just to show you, here's the airflow. I talked about it a little bit in my video about this bag, I think, but there's not much there. Whereas I have an old, I think it's an Osprey that I got for biking with, and it's got that whole sort of like, it's got a mesh, and the bag itself is on sort of a rigid frame that's away from the mesh, so that when I'm, you know, hiked over and I'm giving her, there's actual airflow passing. Man, that makes a whole difference. The reason why I'm not using that, say today, is because I have it full of my biking stuff, and I don't like to spend the mornings switching stuff all around. And I never know when I'm going to grab my laptop and throw it in, and this bag, it's got a, you know, okay, you guys have seen the video. Perfect for a laptop, perfect for camera. I found my camera, by the way, so look for better visuals to come back to my channel. But you know, this bag is just when I'm in an urban environment, and I might have a camera and a laptop and a snack, and let's face it, in daycare runs, I might have some tiny shoes or something. This is a good bag for that, you know, which is why I'm wearing it today. But you know, you don't have to have the mesh and the, you know, and that space. Some stuff, I know Camelback makes some really nice channeling, and you gotta have a comfortable bag on. It's not a, you know, it's not an option. I mean, in 1950 it was an option because the technology was different. I get it, but with the options that you can afford today, like I said, my Osprey, I think was like 58 bucks back when I bought it. Might have been 2004, 2005. You know, you don't need to have a $300 bag on for a back-friendly bag. That one's a, you know, the waist belt on that one's not perfect, but you know, it's better than having nothing. That's pretty much it. You know, also a good bag will have, you know, organization and everything, but I can almost deal with no organization if the bag is comfortable. That. You know, I'm not 22 anymore, you know, so comfort is job one. Comfort is like my first, you know, my first requirement now. Everything else is almost optional. I don't want to be too bombastic about that. Everything else builds on the comfort. You know, if a bag is not comfortable, I'm not even going to think about it. Forget it. If a bag isn't comfortable, then I start to, okay, and it's got some good, there's a daycare walking past over on the path. Where was I? Oh yeah, so like, if it's comfortable, then I start with, you know, okay, what are the compartments like? Does it have blah, 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 I don't know what, you know, because I'm sort of going off the cuff here, but yeah, all that to say, Backpack Jack, congrats on 100 subscribers. My entry is, now that I think about it more and more, a good bag on your back. You can do this with sandals on and bug spray, so long as you've got, you know, a good bag on your back. Especially where some of us do our hiking. You know, this is Mount Royal. This is not the, this is not really the great outdoors. This is the kind of good outdoors, you know. So I don't know. I guess that's about it. It's a beautiful day, and it's too bad I'm going to be back in an office in about 20 minutes. But Jack, yeah, way to go. 100's it's a good number. Let's say about 200, okay? All right. See you later.